Welcome to West Country Wanderings and welcome back to my wood here in Gloucestershire on a glorious Sunday afternoon. It's quite quiet here, apart from some scramble bikes just over on the Cotswold escarpment there towards the base of Froster Hill. So excuse if you are hearing some motorbikes here, then thankfully they're not in the wood. So the woods, I can still hear the bird sound, so hopefully you can pick up that as well. But yeah, it's lovely. So I've come back here again. Now the last time was, I called it the winter one. I'm not sure what to call this one because we're kind of in between winter. We're coming towards the end of the winter. We're just the last but one day of January, but we're not quite in spring. Now that's the case, is that seasons are always staggered. They don't neatly fit together. There isn't like one day where it's winter and one day where it's spring. You might get a few days where it's winter, it nips into spring and nips back out into winter again. There isn't a smooth transition, as we'll see as we go around the woodland here today, looking for evidence of springtime. The writer H.E. Bates actually put it really, really well. He wrote The Darling Buds of May, amongst other things. I'll drop in a couple of other things that he wrote there. But he put it that the days borrow from each other, which I think is a wonderful expression. I'm not sure where he wrote that, but I read that recently and it just kind of stuck in my head. So yeah, that's one of the days borrow from each other. And I think that's so true, particularly on a day like today, which has a very much a spring feel to it, but officially we're still in the winter. Now, what is striking, to me at least, since my last visit here back in the winter time, which I believe was either the end of November, early December, I'll have to go and check my notes, but it was certainly winter time then. Although then we were still seeing some autumnal colour. It certainly felt wintry, it felt very cold, and the wood had a very damp air to it, unlike today. There were still a few leaves, golden leaves, left on the tree. But today it's quite noticeable that our wood is bare. It's completely bare. And you have just the shadows of the branches on the trees here now. Just giving their form to us, just showing their shapes. In fact, a bright sunlight day is the best time to see this because you can see the shadows, the bright striking sunlight steals through the wood and gives those sharp shadows, as you can see. Now, woodland is as vibrant in the wintertime as it is any other time of the year, although it's not in such obvious ways. You have to look down at the detail. Now, during my last visit here, the winter visit, I spoke about the layers, the 4 layers of the woodland, starting from the canopy right to the floor layer. So we've come down to the floor layer here, and we're looking at 2 branches on the ground. One of them is covered in moss, but the other one is covered in lichen. Now, last time I spoke about the moss that grew up the sides of the trees and how it orientated itself to get the best from the light and pick up the particles and feed off in the air, and also to feed off the dew. But lichens are also ancient creatures, and they're also very, very dominant in Western Britain, so the western side of Britain, particularly the West Country, which is obviously the area that I cover on my channel. Lichens, though extracting food from there, also need air that is free from contaminants, which is you'll find lichens that grow profusely in areas where the air is clearest. Also, along the west, the air is fresher from the Atlantic Ocean, and there is less heavy industry on this side of the UK compared to the eastern side. Now, lichens can take many centuries to grow, to colonise new habitats. In actual fact, there's 1,600 lichens in the UK, but not all of them grow on trees. You can find them in some unusual places. I've seen them on concrete. They'll grow as long as there's damp enough conditions, and they can grow on other plants, shrubs as well. But they are amazing creatures. They're made up of two constituent parts, as I'll explain. Moving back to our lichens, they're actually made up of two constituent parts, the fungus and the algae. And the fungus provides the shelter for the lichen and also for its nutrients. And the algae provides the food through photosynthesis, obviously through light, and it's getting those particles in and then reacting with the light to provide it to keep living. Absolutely incredible creatures. Next time you're out of the wood, hunt down some lichen and study them. They're amazing. Now, Thomas Hardy, who obviously came from Dorset, where we were the other day when I did vlog number 6, wrote a novel called The Woodlanders, and in that he created a character called Giles Winterbourne. Now, Giles Winterbourne could actually tell trees by their sound. I can't remember the exact expression. I think I've made a note of it here. But what he did is that character goes into the woods. He's a woodsman, and he, in the book, Thomas Hardy wrote about him. He put the words, obviously, that he spoke, Giles Winterbourne, and he said, "The quality of the winds through a bough." Now, when I arrived in the woodland today, all was still. It was very, very calm. And I've been here some couple of hours now filming pieces of photography and talking to the camera. And the wind's actually got up. We're now coming up to about 3:30 in the afternoon, so in about an hour and a half it'll be dark. But the wind's cut up, and it just reminded me of that. When I came still, you couldn't hear any of the wind through the trees, but now that the trees are bare, all of the trees do have a particular sound to them. I'm not an expert enough to start recognising trees just purely by the sound of the wind going through the bough, but and I struggle to identify trees even with my guidebook when I'm out in the field, as you'll see me do from time to time when I do the Name That Tree feature, which will be back when we do the 7 Way, don't worry. But yeah, it is difficult to do that, but obviously the character that Tom Hardy created in that book, The Woodlanders, that character could actually do that, and I think that was probably based on real people that lived in the country, those in Wessex, in Dorset, all those 200 odd years ago. There probably were people that could do that because it was part of their job. If they were woods people and they need to get wood, they could identify plants, not trees. And obviously it's very difficult to identify a tree in the winter time when there's no leaves or flowers upon it. One of the many interesting things if you come to a woodland in winter are catkins. But what are they? Well, they're slim cylindrical flower clusters, and they don't actually mark a particular tree. In fact, you'll find them on many trees at this time of the year, including birch, willow, sweet chestnut and sweet fern. In many of these plants, only the male flowers form catkins and the female flowers are single, like with hazel and oak. Sometimes you can see them in early December, but towards the end of January, I would say, is probably the best time to be looking out for catkins. And obviously the reason for them is so that the tree can scatter the seeds. For some time, catkins were believed to be Synapforoni, I'll put that in the bottom, among the proposed Hemipletheria, also known as Amentiferia, literally plants bearing aments. It is now believed it is in the polyphyletic group, This suggests that the catkin flower arrangement has arisen twice independently by what's known as convergent evolution. Such a convergent evolution raises questions about what the ancestral inflorescent characters might be and how catkins did evolve. So yes, they're fascinating to see how different species of trees have come to use catkins to grow flowers for pollination. The word catkin is a loan word from the Middle Dutch, which literally means kitten. This name is due either to the resemblance of the lengthy sorts of catkins to a kitten's tail, or to the fine fur found on some catkins. Well, that's all from West Country Wanderings for today. I hope you enjoyed our winter, perhaps spring, here's hoping spring, tour of the Gloucestershire Woodland that I keep coming back to. Here in, obviously, Gloucestershire. So yeah, we will return here again. So I'll be coming back later in the spring to look at evidence of flowers before the blue bell. So it'll be probably March, April time. I'll probably do a revisit again, and then perhaps another visit towards the end of May. But if you've got any comments about woodland in your area, particularly if you've been out for walking in the woodland around where you live, love to hear from you. Let me know what you've seen in your local woodland. Please drop a comment below. Anyway, until next time, hope you enjoyed it. Take care, and I hope to see you on my channel again very soon. All the best now. Cheers. Goodbye.